You've seen it everywhere, right? On just about every steakhouse menu, every gourmet burger joint, even in the grocery store aisle, that word, Angus. It's become a stamp of quality. But have you ever stopped to wonder why? Well, today we're going to unravel the incredible story of how this one type of cow, a hardy, hornless breed from the Scottish Highlands, completely took over the American West and built a beef empire. Let's dive in. And it's a fantastic question because the answer is so much more than just it tastes good. It's a story packed with visionary farmers, a really skeptical public, and frankly, one of the most brilliant marketing moves the food industry has ever pulled off. We're going to break down exactly how Angus became the undisputed king of American beef. So to really get our heads around this whole Angus empire, we've got to go back way back to its roots. Long before it was a brand name, it was a rugged survivor shaped by the one-of-a-kind landscape of northeastern Scotland. Okay, so picture this: rolling green hills, plenty of rain all year round, and a cool, mild climate. This little corner of the world, the counties of Aberdeenshire and Angus, was basically the perfect place to raise cattle. And that environment forged an animal that was tough, that was adaptable, and that was efficient, traits that would become unbelievably important down the road. Now here's a cool little detail. Before they were officially called Aberdeen Angus, the locals had nicknames for them, Dotties or Humleys. And both of those names pointed to a key genetic trait that really set them apart. They were naturally hornless, or polled. Now that might sound like a small thing, but trust me, for a farmer, not having to deal with dangerous horns was a massive advantage. Every great origin story has its heroes, right? Well, for Angus, there are two guys you absolutely have to know. First, there's Hugh Watson. You could call him the founder. Starting way back in 1808, he was the first person to really start breeding these local dotties with a purpose, selecting for quality. He's the one who decided black should be the breed's signature color, and he bred some legendary animals, like a cow called Old Granny, who lived to be 35 and had 29 calves. Just incredible. And then you have a William McCombie, the marketer. He took Watson's work and put it on the world stage. He was a showman, winning top prizes all over Europe and making Aberdeen Angus an international name. But here's where the story takes a twist. When this Scottish superstar finally made its way across the ocean to America, it did not get a warm welcome. In fact, the first impression was, well, it was pretty bad. So the year is 1873. A Scottish guy named George Grant brings just 4 Angus bulls with him to his new settlement in Victoria, Kansas. His big idea was to build a community of British farmers out on the American prairie. Little did he know, those 4 animals were about to kickstart a revolution in the entire U.S. cattle industry. And the reaction? Well, let's just say it wasn't a standing ovation. When Grant decided to show off 2 of his bulls at a big livestock expo in Kansas City that year, the American cattlemen, who were used to a very different kind of cow, reportedly took one look and called them freaks. You got to put yourself in their shoes. At the time, the king of the American West was the Texas Longhorn. You know the look, lanky, tough as nails with those huge, iconic horns. And then this thing shows up from Scotland. It's short, it's stocky, it's solid black, and where are the horns? To them, it must have looked like an alien. But being the underdog can be a powerful thing. Being called a freak didn't last very long because this Scottish bull had a few tricks up its sleeve. And it was about to prove its worth in the most convincing way possible, out there on the harsh American frontier. So what happened next? Well, this is where everything changed. George Grant started crossing his Angus bulls with the local Texas Longhorn cows, and the results were just mind-blowing. The calves that were born didn't have horns, which was a huge plus. But more than that, they survived the brutal Kansas winters better than the other cattle. And when spring rolled around, they weighed more. This was the ultimate I told you so. All of a sudden, light bulbs started going off for ranchers everywhere. This wasn't just some weird-looking cow. It was a smart business move. No horns meant safer and easier to handle. They were tough and adaptable. They had an easier time giving birth. They were super fertile. And, this is the big one, they were incredibly good at turning feed into high-quality meat. For a rancher trying to make a living, this was the whole package. And the momentum just exploded. Think about this for a second. In just 10 years, a single decade, these animals went from being laughed at as sideshow freaks to being the foundation of a brand new National Breeders Association, officially set up in Chicago. The Angus breed hadn't just arrived, it was putting down deep roots. Okay, so the Angus is a massive hit with ranchers. That's a huge deal. But being the rancher's choice is only half the battle, right? Becoming a household name, that's a whole other ballgame. And this next part of the story, it's not about genetics. It's about a genius idea that turned the entire beef industry on its head. You see, by the 1970s, there was a big problem. If you were a regular person going to the butcher shop, buying a good steak was a total gamble. You never knew what you were going to get. The quality was all over the place. And the American Angus Association saw this as a massive opportunity. And that brings us to this date, 1978. This is the year that changes everything for good. It's the year the American Angus Association launched a program called the Certified Angus Beef Brand. Honestly, this was pure genius. The plan was so simple, but so powerful. First, they didn't just say it's good. They defined quality with 10 super strict science-based standards. Then they put inspectors in place to certify only the beef that met every single one of those standards. Then they licensed that brand, that logo, to restaurants and grocery stores. And the most important part? They made a promise to you, the consumer. Consistency. You see that logo, you know exactly what you're getting. Every single time. And the result? Oh, it was a total game changer. This program basically created a premium price for any high-quality cattle that had a black hide. All of a sudden, ranchers could make more money by using Angus bulls. The economic incentive was huge, and the demand for Angus genetics just skyrocketed across the entire country. And that brings us right up to today, where Angus isn't just a type of cow anymore. It's an entire industry. It's a highly sophisticated ecosystem that's designed to do one thing: maintain its dominance as the undisputed business breed of America. Just look at this number. Let it sink in for a minute. Today, over 80%, 80, of all beef cows in the United States have Angus genes. That is absolute domination. To go from 4 freak bulls on the Kansas prairie to becoming the genetic foundation of an entire nation's beef supply, it's just incredible. And this is how they keep that dominance. See, the American Angus Association is way more than just a club that registers cattle. It's a powerhouse. You've got certified Angus beef driving demand from people like you and me. You've got Angus Genetics Incorporated, AGI, constantly pushing the science forward. Angus Media helps breeders market their animals, and the Angus Foundation invests in research and the next generation. It's a perfect self-reinforcing loop. So, when you boil it all down, here's the ultimate takeaway. Angus pulled off this amazing transformation. It went from just being the name of a cow to being a powerful brand. It became a benchmark, a standard for quality, and a reliable promise to everyone who buys beef, cementing its place as the engine of the entire American beef industry. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? From Hugh Watson and William Maccombie in Scotland to George Grant in Kansas, all the way to the visionaries who dreamed up the certified Angus beef brand. The entire history of this breed has been shaped by people who didn't just sit around and wait. They were innovators, they drove the change themselves. You know, the journey of Angus beef is such a powerful lesson in how the right product combined with brilliant branding can create an absolute empire. And it really makes you think. As we start looking at things like cell-based meats, new plant-based options, and incredible genetic technologies, what's going to be the next big idea that completely revolutionizes the food that we all eat?